New Delhi has a high-profile visitor today. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, the American equivalent of a foreign minister. He held many meetings, discussed many issues, but let's first tell you about the most explosive statement made by Mr. Pompeo. On Indian soil, he slammed a third country, calling it a threat to the whole world, a terror threat to the whole world, and that country, by the way, was not Pakistan. It was Iran, a known ally and old friend of India. Listen in.
We also know that Iran is the world's largest state sponsor of terror. And we know the Indian people, how they have suffered from terror around the world. So I think there's a shared understanding of threat and a common purpose to ensure that we can keep energy at the right prices and deter this threat. Not only the threat in the narrow confines of the Middle East, but the threat that this terror regime poses to the entire world.
This is unprecedented. The Indian Ministry of External Affairs has not commented on this, but it's clear that America is pushing the envelope, looking at how far it can go to corner Iran, in the process putting its host country, India, in a spot. Remember, under U.S. sanctions pressure, India has halted its oil imports from Iran. Recalibrating trade deals is one thing. Calling a country names is quite another. Mr. Pompeo was in West Asia before this. He met the Saudi king, and not surprisingly, he did not raise the killing of Jamal Khashoggi. We'll discuss that later. For now, let's talk about what he discussed while in India. Mr. Pompeo's visit was basically to lay the groundwork for the Modi-Trump bilateral meeting in Japan later this week. But he did not come empty-handed. He had a big wish list for India. He met Prime Minister Modi and then External Affairs Minister S.Jaishankar. Later, they addressed a joint press conference. Besides Iran, trade was the top talking point.
Great friends are bound to have disagreements. The United States has been clear we seek greater market access and the removal of trade barriers in our economic relationship. And today I address these differences in the spirit of friendship, and I think that the two of us will be able to see a good outcome for each of our two countries. And we'll keep working to resolve any economic disputes, not only those that we have at this moment, but those that, when any significant trading relationship inevitably arise.
The trade relationship between India and the U.S. has seen some ups and downs. Earlier this month, America ended India's preferential trade status. As a result, some of Indian exports now face higher duties, meaning that they will be taxed more in America, so they'll cost more, especially imports like steel and aluminium. In retaliation, India slapped tariffs on 28 American imports. But this may not be a big issue. At least the government of India does not seem too worked up about it. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal was asked about this in Parliament today, and he said that India no longer needs any special concessions, as Indian products are now in a solid position to compete with the world's best.
That U.S. has taken a unilateral position. We believe that it's not exactly as per the norms of WTO and GATT, which have been mutually agreed and which are multilateral trade agreements. But having said that, obviously these are issues that come up in international trade. From time to time, countries have to engage with each other. There is always trade discussions and negotiations going on. But one thing is very clear. This government, led by Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, will never, ever compromise on national security and national sovereignty. And at no point of time will trade negotiations be allowed to overtake what is in the national interests and interests of the people of India.
National security also dominated the dialogue today. Even External Affairs Minister S.Jaishankar made a mention of it before the media. It's no secret that America wants India to buy more of its arms, and they want India to stop buying weapons from Russia. Another sticking point, India will not budge. It is the buyer. It gets to decide who to buy from, and so it will not dump Russia.
I mean, we have many relationships with many countries. Many of them are of some standing. They have a history. I think we will do what is in our national interest. And again, part of that strategic partnership is the ability of each country to comprehend and appreciate the national interest of the other.
Mike Pompeo's statement today has given us some insight into what to expect from the bilateral between President Trump and Prime Minister Modi. And here is Donald Trump's wish list. He wants fewer or no trade barriers for American companies in India. He wants India to break all ties with Iran. He wants complete isolation of Iran, but he won't reciprocate on Pakistan. Trump wants India to buy more American arms, and he wants India's support in the trade war against China, and this means creating more barriers for Chinese companies like Huawei in India. All of this is easier said than done. What Donald Trump forgets is that national interest comes first, as much for India as for America, and there is no reason why India should go out of its way to accommodate the Americans. Both sides will have to find the middle ground.